that's another thing I want to talk about. I'm a public game master. And I get very, at this age, I can get very picky about things when I'm bringing in, like, starting a new campaign or bringing in new players. So, I'm trying to recruit for the campaign. And I'm really picky about things, but people will sometimes wonder why. It's because I want that stable, good, therapeutic experience with a group I'm going to run for. And now I already run for 2 groups in real life, but it doesn't matter where I run, who I run for. I want a good experience. And the reason I could be so picky is there's only, like, I do old school. I'm talking about old school 2nd edition right now that I'm recruiting for online. And there's only so many ways people can show me stuff because, making a character is very easy. So on the few little fronts where you could show me you're making an effort, I'll be very picky about you showing that to me. Because it's like some of your only early opportunities to show me something up front that I know I can trust you in the future, doing a little bit as a player that you're required to do and doing it on time. And I also want players that show me that they're not lazy. And so there's only a small few opportunities to show me you're not lazy. There's only so much you got to do making a character for TUI. You know this, Black Rose. My experience in the past as a public game master running for thousands of players with TUI is 99.9% of people that show me obvious signs of their laziness flake out. They don't get things done on time many times, and they flake out on the game. These are the type of players that don't complete campaigns. They bring other issues to the game. And this is not just like 50%, 51% of the time or 70% of the time. It's like 99.9% of the time, right? So it's at this age, at 46, I'm not 20. And I hate gambling away my time to nonsense. So because of that, on the few small front areas where you can show me the effort is there, that you're not lazy at the very least, I'll be very picky. Like, it might seem petty to some people, but it's really not when you understand there's only so many ways you can show me that you're making the effort. So it would be petty if that wasn't the case, but in reality, I'm going to push, right? Push. Show me you're not this right now. Don't give me reasons why you haven't done the thing. Do the thing. I tell players that all the time. Like, don't be lazy and then show up and tell me, whoa, here's no, dude. There's only so many ways. You give me enough reasons, you run out of ways to show me, and I'll be very picky. And there's a likely chance I might not even let you in if you have not had the opportunity to show me that you can get this done. And some people may think, well, you're a little bit too picky there, Steve. No. Go to the game masters with the horror stories. The uncompleted campaigns, players flaking out. And you'll find those guys are the ones that don't make a big issue about this stuff. It's like 100% of the time when you find issues, it's the guys who did not push for certain things. It's like, oh, you got a problem player? Let me guess. He was like this at the front. Yep. You got a player that's not completing it? He was like this at the front, right? Yep. And this will be the same story for every game master, especially running old school. They'll always know, like when guys DM that are other public guys like me that have ran for a lot of people, and I talk to them about this stuff, they're all in agreement with me. Like all of them agree. There is no shadow of a doubt. There's no shadow of a doubt on it. The signs of laziness from players is always the worst thing you can run into, especially with old school. Like, I don't mind if it's a more complicated game. I don't mind being a little bit more hands-on and showing you stuff, and I think that's necessary. But when it gets to a certain point, even with second edition, I mean, I'm pretty hands-on with the walkthrough with my host rules and everything. I mean, that stuff guides you really well. And there's a few small areas where you get to show me that you're going to get stuff done. Signs are always there. You just have to occasionally disbelieve the illusion. It just, you can't, you want to know why? I'm just no longer, I'm 46. I'm not 20. I don't got no more time to gamble anymore. So, like, I tell players, I don't gamble anymore. Like, you have your opportunity now. Don't show it to me. I'm not gambling with you. Like, sorry, been through it too many times. Just outright refuse. Now, the groups that get with me, they all thank me later. Like, Black Rose, my approach has given me consistently good gaming for over 20 straight years now without running into the bump anymore. And I mean consistently good. And it's because I learned my lesson and put that forth. How do you guys tool stats? We do 4d6 drop the lowest. I mean, that's pretty common. That's pretty common, Coochie. 4d6 drop the lowest. Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of guys do. Some old school guys can be really strict, and they'll do it because, well, you shouldn't have this high stat. I'm just like, dude, I don't care that much. The game is. Here's what I like about old school. The game is made to handle the stats. Period. So I'm not that picky about it. The game is made to handle whatever the game is. Like it's I don't care. If you get semi-high numbers with the 4d6 drop the lowest, I just don't care. It just doesn't matter to me. It used to, but the game is strict enough that I'm like, just like, okay, it's not like the game is going to get easier. Oh man, I got 2 16s instead of 2 like 10s. Wow, man, it's like now you're min-maxing. Old school is really strict. And you'll know this when you get a new school guy that will try to join an old school game. They'll start looking at things. Like I had a guy today ask me who's making a character, can I use the dexterity bonus in melee? No. I've heard occasional people allow that to be host rolled in. I mean, look, you can, to me, I'll let you add it to throwing and like say your bow, of course, because that's range and you can use that with crossbow. You can combine strength with the bow though in throwing. So there's, I guess, a bit of putting the stats together, but you can't use it with the sword. I don't do that. I don't host roll that in. I've heard some people host roll it in, just not my gimmick. But it's like, why would you even be asked that when it's so clear that that bonus does not go into melee? That's somebody trying to up the numbers. They just don't understand old school. And old school doesn't care about it for certain reasons. And it's not because the old school game is just opposed to that. It's just the old school game is not a direct board game. It is about survival, not combat. So when you look at the elements, even though a lot of people play old school in a combative way, in reality, old school, all the signs are there to tell you that that's not what it leans into. So everything goes against it. Like I know Black Rose, you'll do a bit more combat with your game. But in reality, the game doesn't really overly support it. Like it communicates to you quite the opposite, especially early on. Like it's more about strategy and thinking. It's like, okay, what happens if you don't get all these bonuses? Well, you got to be careful. Avoid as much combat as you can. When you do get into combat, maybe cut down who can get it who. Attack leaders. Use the moral check system, to break up groups, get the goblins to run away. And these are all methods, more or less, to reject and push away combat. Combat is not a major focus of the game. It is survival, and it's more about your experience in the world. It is a role-playing game in that way. It's not a board game. When you get to WotC gaming, again, I don't blame WotC for going down this path, because when you watch most people play old school D&D, a lot of them play it like it's a board game combat game. So it's, maybe, I mean, it's not like means they don't know what I know, but what's the customer telling you? Most people are going to try to play it in this very board game combative way. And you know this by watching guys that repeat. Like, imagine watching, I watched AD&D, one of you guys, when I first came in. I knew what the game was about, but I'd watch guys repeatedly do this. They get their players to make 5 characters. And these are experienced players. These aren't players that need to learn the gelatinous cube trick. They've been through this. But yet they're still going into the game and going into fights. And losing. Not to the traps, not like more often, straight up just losing in combat. That's the majority of character death. And it's like I was like, I'd watch, and this is not just one game. This is like 8 out of 10 games are being ran and played like this by experienced people. The DM knows better, the players know better. Yet here they are making, and they play it off like that's actually a natural way to play the game. It's like doing the combat early is the way you play the game, but it can be diddly. It's almost like accepting like in their minds, this is the way you play it, but it's diddly. So what you find out early on is most old school people, sadly, because I don't care what you choose to do. I'd rather you just know so you know. But most old school people actually didn't know how old school D&D was to be ran and played. Like the majority. And these are guys, I seen guys doing this that were 10 years in as players. The DM, they all act like this combat and meat grind thing was a natural thing. Yet I could go in as a player to AD&D 1E, and after a few lessons, after losing a few characters, the majority of my characters all could survive easily, like breathing air. Like it's like the concept with backstory. Actually, a lot of players like backstory. Even some of the players that adjust and don't bother with it in old school D&D. But what you find out is the reason they don't bother with it is because of the so-called meat grind. Yet, the second you realize that it's a survival game and you are to avoid this stuff, and you survive most of the time when you start realizing you can value backstory. It can be, you don't got to write 3 pages, but you could definitely put a bit more. And there's a good likely chance if you play the game the way it's meant to be played by the designer's view, you'll be able to play, and your backstory can be meaningfully used by the DM. I mean, the majority of the time. So it's when you play old school D&D incorrectly, and you go into a meat grinder all the time, then if you adjust to gameplay that even the designers aren't intending, but you think they are, you think this is what the game is, this is when you develop this idea that backstory means nothing. But it's telling me right away you're ignorant about the game. Like, to me, I'd rather hear that guys know about this stuff and they're choosing to play it that way anyway. But a lot of guys didn't. And second edition does not change this approach. For the most part, you are meant to be avoiding combat early on. And even at level 3 and up, look, you can more freely, bravely go into combat. But is the game still wanting you to go into combat like it's a casual thing, like you're playing a video game? No. Is combat fun? I say yes, but I say I totally get that with players, but I tell players too, have fun with it. But just because it is fun, that shouldn't be the reason you run into it early. You should just have fun with it when you finally are in position to be in it and you're going to be forced into it. Then go ahead. Enjoy the gameplay. It's definitely meant to be that at the end of the day. At the same time, it's like even enjoy the combat in Traveler. Traveler is meant to avoid, it doesn't matter where you're at in Traveler. Traveler combat is meant as a resource draining thing that is bad all the way through. There is never a good time to be in combat in Traveler. But nowhere in the game does it say that when you're in combat that you don't enjoy it. Of course, you enjoy the experience and the thrill of combat. That should never be your reason for also running into the combat, even if you had fun in Traveler combat, which was possible. It should never be the reason you start playing the game in a certain way that's not meant to be played, right? If not, you'll find that the game isn't going to lend itself most of the time to that gameplay. It's like at Gen Con, they opened up talking about storytelling. A story emerges from what we do. We don't storytell. It's like traveling. It's we talked about it the other day. Creating randomness. Creating randomness means you stop when nothing's happening as much as you can stop when something does happen. But if you're a storyteller, the nothing happening stop has nothing to do with storytelling. Like, you would not do that as a storyteller. You would not combine with others to tell a story that way. That is simply stopping to play that unpredictable side of the game. It's to create a game element. So, and stories, they don't have these things in them. Stories are what they are from the start. So if you're really telling a story, that's what you're doing. If you're focused on telling a story, things like being unpredictable, stopping for the game element of minute times would be meaningless. You wouldn't do that. You only do that is if you perceive that you are running and playing games without the consideration of story. It's like, again, I go back to it. I don't mind the idea of a story merging. I totally get that, but the story merges from a walk you go on. So I've never been somebody who thinks that you should focus on it. Just let it happen. It's like, dude, just at the end, it's like you just ran your 14-hour session. I'm pretty sure, Black Rose, you guys played a game the entire time without thinking about story. At the end of it, you get a story to tell. That's not the thought process when you're doing the activity. Nor should it be. And the problem is, the more people talk about it, the more they actually bring that into focus during an actual gaming session, which is completely alternative to what we're trying to do here. And then you get the excuses. This is where the excuses will dive into it. Like that, that wouldn't be good for storytelling. That's when you get these excuses of skip challenge, skip character death, skip, because that's not good for a story. And the second you do something in one of these games for the sake of the storytelling concept, you've lost the plot. Like Pendragon, you purposely do stuff for the intent of telling a story. Castle Falkenstein, you stop joking around casually, and the game master gets you to get back into certain dialogue for the sake of, because you're telling a story. So you can't just have that casual time. That needs to be cycled back. In Pendragon, if you're doing certain actions, it becomes no good for the story. You got to cycle back for the sake of storytelling. In D&D, I might be doing something unpredictable as a DM, but that's for storytelling. It's no good. Stopping at minute times and then to make it like random, that's not good at all. It was a bridge towards side of the goal of others, so the goal is clear, but how it's achieved is open-ended, depending on the outcome of. But it's all random. That's the point. It's like, I just tell guys, stop. But like, what are you doing? Don't focus on the story, dude. You're putting in plot hooks for the game, for the challenge, for this, right? Yeah. That's it. No, and like, even if you could say a story could be strung together from it doesn't matter. That's not your intent. Your intent is just to run a game. So that's where I just don't like the focus on story. I think it's so unnecessary. I like how Old School D&D did it. When you get into their language and the Gary's language, it's like a story emerges. That's it. Leave it alone. It's like, yeah, stop mentioning this. It's not storytelling. And World of Darkness was so critical of D&D for not caring about the focus on story. They called their guy a storyteller, yet even World of Darkness fails to be storytelling. It goes back to the randomness and the gameplay and the story emerging. And I say to people, Black Rose, you wouldn't have Pendragon and Castle Falkenstein wouldn't even have to exist if the storytelling elements were being done these other ways, right? It's always been my preachment. It's just like, I don't get why people want to. It's almost like they mentioned for so many years, it's a hill they want to die on, but when you examine it, it's completely false. Like, again, as a storyteller, you would never stop to do camp night for no reason on traveling. That's not storytelling. That's not good storytelling, so it's storytelling at all. Right? So it's like, if I'm doing that to create unpredictability, like some nights you might stop at the camp, you could be getting jumped in an encounter. Somebody could be sneaking up on your thing. Some nights it's not there. Some other situations, not just travel, are going to be completely random and minute. which would not be any form of storytelling or any attempt to tell a story. But why am I doing it? Because we're playing a game. And I'm creating an unpredictability for the game, right? So it's that. Stories need guidance and focus and control, right? That's why you focus with Castle Focus Time. You don't allow too much randomness. You are going to be resistant to that in Pendragon because they are storytelling. They are actually doing the thing. And if D&D was just that, why isn't D&D doing similar things? Because it's not. And these games exist because D&D is not doing that thing.